Welcome to Question Time. My name is Paul Seidu. Today, we welcome you to this special day, Freedom Day it is. And my guest today is the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Mzwandile Masina. He's also the chairperson of the African National Congress, Ekurhuleni region. But before we get into today's discussion, let us firstly have a look at this inset.
I, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, do hereby swear to be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and do solemnly and sincerely promise at all times to promote that which will advance and to oppose all that may harm the Republic, to obey, observe, uphold and maintain the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic, to discharge my duties with all my strength and talents to the best of my knowledge and ability, and true to the dictates of my conscience, do to justice to all, and to devote myself to the well-being of the Republic and all its people.
Will you please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God"?
So help me God.
That was former president of very first democratically elected president, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. May his soul rest in peace. And that was 1994. 21 years later, we are in a South Africa where a lot of people have benefited from freedom, but yet there still remains multitudes of those who have not tasted yet this freedom. This is a live program, and you can call us on 011-714-6841, 42 or 43, and we'll be taking your calls. Is there a good story to tell? Do you feel that you have a good story to listen to? Have you experienced freedom, and what have been your experiences? Deputy Minister Mzwandile Masina, welcome to Question Time.
Thank you very much, Mpo.
Some 21 years ago, certainly you and I wouldn't have thought in Ekurhuleni or in the East Rand, as it was, that we'll be seated here today.
Surely. It was quite tense in our era, as you would remember. I come from Katlehong.
Yeah.
There was an extent of violence in that particular area. But because of the visionary leadership of Tata Nelson Mandela and his generation, today we're here celebrating 21 years of freedom and democracy in South Africa.
Yeah. And whereas there's a lot of people who would say they have benefited, from freedom, there still remains a lot of people who are saying we have not yet tasted freedom in earnest. Yes, we live in a democratic and a free South Africa, yet we still have our very own challenges.
Well, like any other society, there will always be challenges in South Africa. I think that where we are, progress has been recorded since 1994, and that's where we must start. Today, we're celebrating this day because it's important that as South Africans, we reflect as to how far we have come and what were the issues that we had to deal with. You know that me and you, the generation of Nelson Mandela, the first thing that they had to look at was the suppressive laws of apartheid. And all of us, we can with certainty say today we've got a constitution of which we are all proud of. That is a major achievement of that particular era. But more importantly, you'll recall the period of reconciliation, because one of the things, the policies of the ruling party, the African National Congress, are about unity of all the people of South Africa based on the Freedom Charter. So we had to go through a painful process of reconciliation in South Africa. Where we are now, I can say with confidence that we have learned to live together, both black and whites, which ordinarily would not have been the case if it was not because of the visionary leadership of Tata Nelson Mandela and the collective leadership he led with.
You serve in a cabinet which is daily faced with challenges to explain to the people of South Africa why certain things have not happened.
Yes, look, the work of government is to work, firstly, but also to explain on things that are not clear to citizens. And we'll always do that. You see, let's take a practical example about the current challenge of electricity.
Yes.
We have been explaining to South Africans very succinctly that, look, the challenge is that you had an electricity generation that was meant for the minority, which apartheid government used to serve just the tiny minority of South Africa. The democratic government, when it came to office, the first thing that we needed to do, we needed to extend the supply of electricity to ordinary citizens. Invariably, the system was bound to have challenges as we have now. But because we are a proactive government, since 2008, we're already working on building 3 new power stations in South Africa to solve the problem of that is facing us now. And we're doing relatively well. There are challenges, as you know, what is happening in Midupi,
yes,
Kusile, and Ingula. But for the first time, we're building 2 of the 3rd and the 4th largest power coal generated power station in the world. So you can already see that we're a government that work, even though we have to explain to citizens because we have to take them to confidence. Yesterday, I was with the Deputy President of the ANC in the function of the African National Congress. He was saying that he was in Jakarta. They were talking about the same problem of challenge of electricity generation. The sense is that our ongoing blackouts there and there is not as bad as they are experiencing that population of about 260 million in Indonesia. So I can tell you that we have to have confidence in the work that we're doing as South Africans.
Now, freedom is always, rights are always accompanied by responsibilities. Whereas people are enjoying the fruits of, democracy, which would include, of course, access to electricity. South Africans also have the responsibility to pay for the electricity and services. Yet you have a community like Soweto that is not paying. They owe Eskom billions. And somebody else who lives outside of Soweto who has to be paying for those services is not necessarily enjoying his freedom if he has to be paying even for the people of Soweto who are just not paying.
Look, every freedom has got a responsibility, as you're correctly saying. And I think that ours as government is to continuously encourage our citizens to be responsible, because the provision of electricity or of all these basic free services to South Africans is meant basically to deal with the past challenges that we've always had. But where people must also intervene and assist government and pay, we have always been making those calls. And I think that President Zuma has been in the forefront with his executive, together with all other spheres of government, to say to South Africans, let's be responsible in terms of, firstly, how we utilize those services, but secondly, on how we pay for them, because we have to pay for them.
I want us to take a quick break. When we return, let's look at what you're doing there at the Department of Trade and Industry, the project to launch industrialists, as you have recently been doing. I think it's something that I want us to talk to. But if you have a comment or a question to the Deputy Minister or the Chairperson of the ANC in Eguruleni, we must not forget that. You're more than welcome to call us. But for now, we're taking a quick break. Please don't go.
Catch all these and more every day on Sports Live at 8:30 p.m. on the SABC News Channel.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest today is the Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Mzondile Masina. Call us on 011-714-6841, 42 or 43. We are live. If you have a question or a comment on this Freedom Day special. Now, Deputy Minister, you were saying you wanted to just finish off something?
Yes, I just wanted to say to South Africans that all of us must acknowledge that freedom is not an event. It's a continuous effort from all of us to try and create a social system in which a majority of our people will benefit. And over time, we have to bear that in mind as we continue enjoying this freedom, so that we know that we have a responsibility to ensure that we assist all these the state departments or spheres of government to ensure that we sustain the work that we've started in 1994. I think that's very, very important.
Okay, Roy, you're calling us from around Johannesburg in Knockham Park, rather. Yeah. Roy?
Hi, Bob.
Yes.
Chairperson.
Kunjani ba?
Kunjani. Chairperson, I just want to ask something. In this growing democracy of ours, in our 21 years, I just want to ask from you, with the economical challenges that are there now, what can we do so that the good stories, because it can't be that really in 21 years nothing has been done. What can be done to tell those good stories? And lastly, what can be done to bring the few minority that doesn't want to understand and accept that there was some time and we have moved, to allow them to move with us, because seemingly the majority has accepted, but the minority is so hard in wanting to move with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Roy.
No, thank you very much, Roy. I think it is important that we must also appreciate the fact that the reason why it has taken us almost 21 years to consider the policy on radical socio-economic transformation is because we needed to fix our fundamentals in the country. You will know that when we introduced the RDP policy, basically we're sorting out the social security net in the country so that the majority of our people who were languishing in poverty could be taken care of. We also needed to ensure that our macroeconomic stability, to ensure investor confidence was certain, and we've done all those things. Where we are now speaking firmly about how do we make sure that we transform our economy, because freedom without economic freedom is not enough, and we are doing all in our power as the ruling party to ensure that the minority, of which mainly are white South Africans, they must understand that we don't want, we are a law-abiding party, and we've created laws in this country that would want all South Africans to obey. We don't want individuals who, because of frustration, will walk into their houses and eat cheese for free. So they must share. That's why we're now speaking very firmly about this radical socio-economic transformation, because the economy is continuously in the hands of white, and we want that to change. Hence, we're introducing a number of policy measures in government. And I think that some of the questions Mpo will be asking me about those, I will be able to respond to them quite succinctly.
Okay, before we do that, let's take Christopher. You're calling us from Cape Town. Chris?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you're welcome.
I want to add on that Freedom Day.
Okay. Chris, if you can switch off your television, it will really make life much bearable for both of us. Go ahead, Chris. Okay. It would appear we have a problem with Christopher.
Hello?
Yes. Okay, Christopher, welcome. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Hello?
Go ahead, Christopher. we seem to be having a problem with Christopher. Rather, let's deal with this matter that I had raised before we went to the break. How do you intend to, I don't know whether, is it to create, how many industrialists?
Well, we are working very hard. You must know that since 2009, President Zuma approved a policy on industrialization in South Africa. We have been doing a lot of work to support all sorts of industries to ensure the growth and stability that we've witnessed. Even at the time when we were hit by the 2008 economic crisis, we saw our firms or our economy being resistant because we had a fundamental policy to industrialize our economy. We had taken note that the days of buying shares and as passive shareholding has come to an end. We want people to own factories. That's the work that we are now doing, and also just to support the productive sectors of the economy, because over time we have realized that a black majority, they have been on the consumption side of the economy. So that has to change in order for us to make an impact in the structure of the economy. And that's the cry that South Africans have been saying, to say 20 years is enough, we have waited enough, we know that we've got social grants, we know that we are providing houses, but we want to be self-reliant, and we're saying that the only way is that we must open and own factories, and we're doing that work under the guidance of President Zuma.
Okay. Malusi, you're calling us from Durban.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes.
Go ahead, Malusi.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Now, I wanted to check in fact, greeting to all of you. I wanted to check with regards to rural development, because most of the time the main activities of creating this like industrializations, they seem to be focused more in urban township, but there's much less effort that is being made in terms of rural development, because I'm one of the people who from in rural areas come to urban areas to get education, but there's less effort that we are being put under pressure to go back to create the environment in rural areas for any development. Yeah.
All right.
No, thank you very much for that question. Look, we are doing a lot of work in rural communities. We have collaborated as a Department of Trade and Industry with the Department of Higher Education, in particular Deputy Minister Mduduzi Manana. We are doing a lot of work. We are skilling over 15,000 artisans throughout the country. We have started our work in Saldanha Bay, which is in the outskirts of the Western Cape. We will be going to the Northern Cape. We will be going to the Eastern Cape, where we've got the industrial development zones. I have no doubt that it is in our best interest that in order to cap the migration to big cities, we have to create opportunities in the places where South Africans are sitting. So I think that call is a very important call, and as government, we are heeding the call. I saw, as yesterday, the Minister of Land Reform was distributing land to the people of the Free State in Kwaqo, which is a rural part of South Africa. We continuously do work in various capacities in government to ensure that we deliver services, because we have an interest in ensuring that those rural areas are turned into almost cities, because our people are comfortable in living in some of those areas, but we need to create conducive environment for all of them.
Nelson, you're calling us from Randfontein.
Yes, Chief. Let me just do a follow-up to the previous speaker, the one that was talking about the rural development.
Yes.
I think what we should do is to focus in the rural areas anyway. Because many people are just focusing in the urban areas. So what is key is for the government to focus in all those rural areas there, not in the urban areas. Then be able to manage this kind of a thing. Remember, everybody is backing now to say government is doing nothing, and of which this government has done lot of things here in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I think that's a positive comment. I do concur with the caller that there is a lot of work that is government is doing, but I think where we're lacking, and we're making good strides now, has been in the area of communicating the delivery of government. If you notice, South Africans will know that some of us younger ministers, we've taken advantage of the social media space to communicate the work of government, because when we sit in our offices, issue press statement, the media decides what they publish. So now we're in control of the content that must go to our citizens. And we're beginning now to show South Africans that we're a government hard at work. I can tell you, sitting here, just by going through social media sites, checking few of the ministers, that we are hard at work. We are doing work throughout the country, and I have no doubt that South Africans, wherever they are beginning to feel that space. But also, the move by government to create the Department of Communication, I think is beginning to yield some positive results. We just need to consolidate and ensure that we can use it effectively, so that the positive, good story of government is properly told without propaganda of the newspaper sometimes.
Tulani, you are in Sterkspruit.
Yeah.
Yes. Tulani? Tulani?
Kunjani ba?
Siphile yakhondo qhubeka tata.
Thina i-problem iyi-one la ngoba kudala i-freedom siyibona i-21 years but asiboniswa lutho thina.
Phi? Tulani? Ezilalini zaphi zase-Sterkspruit?
Yebo, indlela sinazi indlela apha asinazi indlu kuyo.
Okay. Sikuvile ke Tatu Tulani. DM, I think Tulani's call represents quite a lot of people, and these are the people that I was referring to when we started. That some, whereas the right to vote is there, you have access to this and that, but some still feel that their day has not yet come. Tulani is in Sterkspruit, uthi ezilalini asiyiboni le freedom.
Well, if you look into our land reform program and what we have been able to do, all of us say the land reform is moving at a slower pace. Hence, we have said that the willing buyer, willing seller was not serving our people as we had expected. Government subsequently approved a just and equitable land redistribution. We're seeing some movement, and I've made an example about Qwaqwa. Unfortunately, South Africa is a very huge country, and the challenges are over 300 years of colonial and apartheid rule. In 21 years, we're not going to be able to touch all areas. All what we are saying to South Africans is that let's look into the record of delivery, and let's look in, because I can tell you in Sterkspruit, there are some interventions that the government has made, which we can be able to share with the caller. But the concerns that is raising fundamentally are the concerns of our government. That is why in the next four years, we'll be spending over 3 trillion rand to developing infrastructure throughout South Africa, because we realize that it is important. Others will say, why waste money, develop infrastructure in rural communities? And we have seen the need because our people reside in those areas. Okay. I can just say with certainty that Tulani and other people who feel like him, this development is coming. The ANC-led government is committed to rural development, and we're doing our bit to succeed in that area.
Thabo, you're calling us from Kinross. You're our last caller for the day. I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking.
I'm fine, man. I don't have a lot to question there. All what I'm saying is, what is our government doing to actually try and keep the corruption that we are experiencing, especially when it comes to housing settlements, because people are registering for houses, and then 15 years later, somebody has not yet found the building. Okay. And the other thing, I just want to deviate from the topic today. We're actually asking. I'm a very fan of Question Time. I'm asking for an hour for that program of yours. Thank you very much. I'll listen on the TV.
Okay, I hope my bosses are listening, Thabo.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. I think that is a fair question. I must just say that South African government in the past, in 1993, there was no Hawks, there was no Scorpions, there was no public protector, there was no SIU. All these are institutions that have been created to fight crime and corruption in South Africa, and we're effectively utilizing them. I know that South Africans are overjoyed with the Office of the Public Protector. I must just say that's the office that has been created by a democratic government, because we wanted to clamp down on crime and corruption. And I think that this government has got high number of recorded people who have been arrested as a result of criminal activities. The issue that is raising with regards to housing and the waiting list has been a general issue that has been a problem. And I think that we are paying special attention to ensure that we are able to deliver houses to a majority of our people.
Deputy Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
That was question time for today. A big thank you to our guests and to you for watching the show. Our email address, if you want to get in touch with us, questiontime@sabc.co.za. Our Twitter handle is @questiontime24. You can also follow me on Twitter @MportCity. From me and the crew, have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.
I owe my being to the hills and the valleys, the mountains and the glades, the rivers, the deserts, the trees, the flowers, the seas, and the ever-changing seasons that define the face of our native land. My body has frozen in our frosts and in our latter-day snows. It has thawed in the warmth of our sunshine and melted in the heat of the midday sun. The crack and the rumble of the summer thunders, lashed by startling lightning,
Hungry viewers stay with SABC News, as issues on the West are different from issues on the East or here in Johannesburg. So it is not surprising that people who follow the news know that there are two things for sure: that anything can happen, and SABC News will tell you when it does. Because we keep the nation fully informed. We are SABC News.
Welcome to Your World on SABC News Channel 404. I'm Tabile Ngwato.
And I'm Lulu Gabu.
President Uhuru Kenyatta says he will attend the status conference for his Crimes Against Humanity case, but in his personal capacity and not as President of Kenya.
Judges insist he attends this status conference.
About 50 Kenyan MPs are expected to travel to The Hague to express solidarity with President Kenyatta.
The Kenya cases have really tested the International Criminal Court in ways that it hasn't yet been tested.
Your World, weekdays at 9 p.m.
Welcome to Business Review. What a week it has been. The rand has hit a 6.5-year low against the dollar. It's weakened to 11.88 to the dollar. It was trading above 11.70 in December, but it hasn't been at the levels we're seeing today since October 2008.
How do we ensure that we negotiate good contracts so that, money is not flown out of the country?
If we think the rand is low, the Nigerian currency hit 204 to the dollar today, an all-time low. From July this year, the Zimbabwean dollar will cease to exist.
One of the major serious problems is policy uncertainty in Zimbabwe, and the monetary policy can only be a victim of such an environment.
That's Business News, weekdays at 6 p.m. on SABC News.
That goal was outstanding.
Made so much dust that I couldn't see, and I hit a stone and we had a puncture.
Catch all these and more every day on Sports Live at 8:30 p.m. on the SABC News Channel.
It's 6 o'clock Central African time. This is SABC News Primetime coming to you live from Johannesburg. Hello, I'm Peter Ndoro.
I'm Francis Hurd. Great to have you with us. A very good evening. Let's look at the day's top stories.
Marking 21 years of democracy with a plea for tolerance and an end to xenophobia.
A state of emergency declared in quake-ravaged Nepal. Almost 4,000 people have been killed. Thousands more have been injured or displaced.